All right, in going with pedagogy, we're talking about Canadian Aid for Education, CAFE, which does stand for Canadian Aid for Education. It's a Whitby-based nonprofit that funds educational programs in developing countries. With why this should concern you and us here in the Durham region, the other DR, we're joined by the people that spearheaded these projects in the first place. We have Betty Ann Platt and Juan Luriano. Welcome to the show, to the both of you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
And I have to say congratulations on your work thus far, because I know you're truly making a difference in developing countries. It's amazing. Tell me, what in the first place had you made you begin this nonprofit in the first place? Because so many people think, oh, okay, it would be great to make a difference, but people don't typically go out and do it. But you really have. What made you do it?
Well, I would like to respond to that question, very important for us to know the origin of CAFE. Why CAFE became an organization in the first place.
Okay.
As a Dominican, coming to Canada about 34 years ago, and being involved in education as a teacher, retired teacher. 5 years before I retired, I decided to establish an organization that will be able to continue teaching a different capacity at different level. And that's how the idea of establishing CAFE came about.
Because you wanted to continue teaching or working within education on some level. And of course, as you were saying, you're from the Dominican Republic, but what, 35 years ago? Wow, and you still have that connection, right? So the programs that you fund here in Whitby, let's talk about some of the programs. Betty Ann?
Okay, well, we have two major programs. One in Dominican Republic, in Barahona, which is the south of the country. And it's a lunch program in a very poor neighborhood. The children there, sometimes the meal they get at the lunch we provide is their only meal of the day. And of course, children don't learn if they're not fed. They have
Can't do anything if you're
right,
hungry.
they can't concentrate, they don't have the ability to learn. So this program gives them that little bit of nourishment so that they're able to continue learning. And now we've met kids on our visit that have finished elementary. It's an elementary school program, and they're now in high school, and they come back and they help with the program when they can.
So nice.
So it's really, really great.
Yeah, and this program you've been funding for a long time.
It was our first program. The first money that we sent was a little over $1,000, and it was back in 2003. And that was our initial.
And now you're sending way more for that, right?
Yeah.
But the need is growing. We've
the
got
need
inflation,
is growing.
and there's more kids.
Absolutely. And they do have other funding as well, and that has been much less consistent, and much less consistent than it used to be. So we've really had to try and up ours. So we're the consistent funder because we've upped it every year.
Just, you know, it's great because I know we have some pictures. Maybe we can take a look at some of them right now. These are the kids.
Yeah, this is our other program.
This is our other program.
Yeah, this is our Peru program where we fund a mobile library. Okay. Again, it's in the very poor neighborhoods, and there's a van that goes around and spends Saturdays in a particular barrio. There's the van, and there's the tent they set up, and the kids come in, they get help with their homework, they do crafts, play games, math help, reading help, cultural help.
And this is really in a community. Sorry.
Now we're in the Dominican Republic.
Now
They
we're
sort
in
of
the
mix them up a
Okay,
bit, but
mixed
that's
up
okay.
pictures. Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. This is the neighborhood where the lunch program runs in Barahona.
This just shows.
Just shows, you know, the
how
way there's a little
impoverished,
kid, little kid just out in the street, you know, and these are some of the houses in the area, just lean-tos basically with corrugated tin roofs.
And this just shows, these people typically don't get full 3 meals a day.
And there's our board member. That's one of our board members, Peter, and this is with 3 young fellows just on their way to school. So they're on for the afternoon classes. And here we're back in Peru. And these are some kids just out in the yard beside the tent, playing some games and having a little bit of fun.
Outside the tent. And if it wasn't for that tent that you set up, I mean, these kids would be back at home or not necessarily doing anything to further their knowledge.
Again, you know, because poverty is such an issue and parents struggle just to make ends meet. So education of their children, even though they send them to school, you know, the extra help that they might need with homework and stuff, the skills of concentrating on your schoolwork and getting it done is reinforced by the mobile library program.
And this basically is all based on the premise that education is the key to development.
Absolutely. And for kids to get a way out of the poverty, education is an absolute must.
Right. I know a question that you're often asked is, well, what's the Canadian connection? Like, why should I give money? I often find if people, I work with a lot of nonprofit organizations, and I hear, you know, people asking, well, I want the money to stay at home, right? Yes. Which you get that, I can understand that, but why should it be important to us here in Durham region and the other DR, because I know that in Dominican Republic, why should it be important to us to help fund CAFE?
Well, I think that Canadians in general are very generous.
Are very generous,
with people in the developing country. And I think as a Dominican, being a Canadian also, that try to make a contribution to Canadian society, I think it's important for a Canadian to look at the neighbor in other country and try to make a difference in the life of the children that don't have the same opportunity that we have here in Canada.
Yeah, and if we don't do it, who else will, right?
And the world's getting smaller every day, and many of us vacation and spend time in southern countries, and you know, we see the best part of it, the beautiful countryside and stuff, and we don't really see what's underneath. And sometimes I think we need to look at that underneath and to give back to, you know.
Beautiful. That's an awesome point you make, Betty Ann. It's true. I mean, how often do we go down there and think, oh, this is so beautiful? But then you do cross the lines and you go in through the gates, you see it's another world altogether. We're going to send people off to our website, rogerstv.com/daytimedurham. There we have a link to the CAFE website where you can learn more about what we're talking about right here. Thank you so much for being with us, and congratulations and all the best.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure. All right, we're going to a break. When we come back, we're getting a sneak preview of the Class Act Dinner Theater's production of the comedy classic, The Odd Couple. Stick with us. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.